Okay guys, who's with me? Who wants to upgrade a Junkyard big block Chevy? In this video, I went to the Junkyard and grabbed one of my favorite motors, a Gen 6 454. Normally when we run them, I bring them back to Westech, install a dual plane and a carburetor, then we get going. This time, I kept the factory fuel injection in place, ran it with injection, then upgraded to the carburetor. We got carbs versus computers. How well does that factory fuel injection work? Then we ran nitrous. Then we ran a camshaft. Lots of cool stuff. Let's check it out.
To get things started on our modifications to a big block, obviously we needed a Junkyard big block, and my go-to Junkyard big block is usually the Gen 6. I like the better cylinder heads, I like more compression, I like the fact that it has a hydraulic roller cam, so I like the Gen 6 more than the Gen 5 stuff, and that's usually what I get. Now normally when we go to the wrecking yard, I pick up the Gen 6, we bring it back, I strip all of the accessories off of it, we take the fuel injection off of it, I put a simple dual plane carburetor and a distributor on it, and then we run it in that manner and kind of start our testing from there. And then we do all sorts of stuff, as you guys have seen in the other videos, put blowers on them and turbos on them, camshafts and all that stuff. But I get a lot of questions from people saying, hey, what about the factory fuel injection? What about that intake manifold? How well does it do? So what I did this time is, instead of just simply removing it and throwing it in the garbage like we normally do, I decided to keep it and run it and then compare it to the dual plane that we normally put on. Now, any kind of dual plane, I don't really care. I don't have a favorite one, because at this power level, they're all going to be very comparable. So we have a YN Stealth or an Edelbrock RPM air gap or something. Any of those dual planes will work fine. So what I did was I went to the Junkyard, got a Gen 6, we put it up on the dyno, and before I do that, what I do is I basically back it up to the dyno and hook up the oil pressure gauge, and then we put oil in it, and I spin the oil pump shaft to make sure that the thing has oil pressure and it spins over. You know, we spin the motor over with the ratchet or whatever, and I want to make sure that it spins and that it has oil pressure. And usually if it has both of those, then it's probably a good candidate, and we go ahead and put it up and run it. So here's what I did. We put that motor up with the factory fuel injection. Before we did that, I took the injectors out and we flowed them and cleaned them just to make sure that they were working. We didn't know how long they'd been sitting or why the thing was there. And we ran this all with a Holley HP management system. The other thing I did was remove the factory EFI distributor, and we put a simple MSD in it because it plugged right into the Holley and it made things easy. That doesn't really change the power or anything, but what we did was run this thing with the factory EFI injection system on it and that factory intake manifold. And here's how it performed. We also ran this thing with long tube headers, a Mazir electric water pump, as we normally do. And obviously we optimized the tune to make sure that it made as much power as it possibly could. And on this particular combination, this thing made 356 horsepower. Now, we've had these big blocks make more than this, but every time we run them, we've run them with single plane or dual plane intake manifold. So this was going to be an interesting comparison. So this thing made 356 horsepower and 486 foot-pounds of torque. As you can see, we started out down near 2,500 RPM and had over 450 foot-pounds. This thing did fairly well, and it did kind of what we would expect in this combination. This thing was rated at 290 horsepower. It obviously makes it a little more than that because we're running it with no accessories, you know, yada, 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 all that stuff. But here's what happened when we put our dual plane intake manifold on there. This is a Performer RPM air gap dual plane from Edelbrock, and as you can see, it lost a little power down low compared to the factory EFI intake manifold. We also had a 650 Holley carburetor on there, and I know that everyone's going to jump up and down and say, oh, you got to run a much bigger carburetor because it's a 454. No, you don't. This thing only makes 360 or 70 horsepower, and a 650 is way more than enough carburetor to feed that. We know because we've done carburetor tests on motors this big. And when we put a bigger carburetor on there, really nothing happens. It doesn't add any more power. And if it does add just a little bit at the top, you're almost always sacrificing drivability and stuff. So a 650 is fine for this power level. Equipped with the carbureted induction system, this thing made 370 horsepower. Torque was down slightly to 476 foot-pounds. So, you know, if you're going to rev this thing all the way out to 5,000 RPM, then the dual plane obviously is making more power from about 36 or 3,700 on out. Below that, the the long runner factory EFI deal works pretty well. So here's our comparison. Now let's take a look at some other mods we've made to the same motor. After comparing the factory fuel injected intake to our dual plane and carburetor, we were obviously left with our combination running the dual plane and the carburetor. The easiest way to add power after that was to install a simple nitrous plate setup. That's exactly what we did. We installed a low dollar sniper nitrous plate. Simple plate system, mounts under the carburetor, between the carburetor and the intake manifold. It has spray bars in it. It has adjustable jetting. We put 125 horsepower jetting in this thing and retarded the timing by 4 degrees. All of this was run on 91 octane pump gas, so you can easily duplicate this for the street. Now, our NA motor, or our carbureted big block, was making 370 horsepower and 476 foot-pounds. And here's what happened when we activated our nitrous setup. Big jump in power, as we've come to expect, and you can activate this lower if you want to activate it lower than we did. This thing made over 500 horsepower, so we added an easy 125 horsepower. Torque was way up near, the spike was up near 650 foot-pounds, 646 foot-pounds. It would be even higher if we activated it earlier, but you can get a nice 100, 125, even 150 horsepower gain basically through the whole RPM range. As you can see, we ran it out a little higher. We ran it all the way out to 5,500 RPM. That's the great thing about nitrous, is that it's easy to add big jumps in power, and to get this kind of power gain, if you were to go to, you know, cylinder heads and camshafts and that kind of thing, it would be very, very expensive to get this kind of gain. But with, especially with the sniper piece, it's an inexpensive plate system. It's easy to bolt on. Anybody can do it, and you can get big gains. So you have a big block, you have a nitrous injected big block, and that's always good, and it would be a lot of fun in almost any vehicle. And this would be fairly cheap, you know, a motor from the wrecking yard with an inexpensive plate system on it. Because we used a Holley XP carburetor on this, but if I was doing this and I was actually going to put it in a car and wanted to spend less money, I would just put a Brawler carburetor on there, because it's a lot less expensive. It does exactly what this carburetor does for a lot less money, so it's a good combination. Now let's take a look and see what happened when we did a cam swap on this. After comparing the carburation to fuel injection on our big block and then adding nitrous, it was time to step up in camshaft. Obviously, the factory cam was designed for torque production, for drivability and emissions and longevity and all that stuff, and it was not designed for performance. And as we'll see, putting the right cam in this combination can really wake up the big block. So we installed an off-the-shelf cam from Comp Cams. It was an Extreme Energy 276. That cam was designed specifically for the Gen 6 motor, which, as we know, is different than the previous versions because it came from the factory with a hydraulic roller. So that camshaft has a different snout on it. It takes a different timing gear because it is a factory hydraulic roller. This cam was a 510 lift, 224, 230 degree duration split, and 110 degree load separation angle. As you can see, the camshaft worked very well on this Junkyard big block. It didn't lose any power even down at 2600 compared to the factory cam, but picked both peak power and peak torque up quite a bit. Peak torque was up to 514 foot-pounds. Peak power was up to 428 horsepower, or peak horsepower was up to 428 horsepower. And this is normally what we see. We've run this cam a lot, and when we put it in these Junkyard big blocks, it usually makes about 425 horsepower. That's kind of the range. One thing to think about: you definitely need to upgrade the valve springs to go with this camshaft. Now, we used a Comp 26120 cam, but that cam, or those springs combined with the rotator eliminators, which are 300 thousandths thick, put it right in the range of coil bind. So we did it anyway, but I don't recommend that combination. There's probably a better spring package for this. I wish Comp, instead of having the rotator eliminators be 300 thousandths thick, I wish that they were 250 or 200, or that they would make another set. That would give us a little bit more wiggle room with the available springs. But let me know if you guys find a spring package that works well with that, and I can start using that. I just have to science it out. I'm sure that there's something that would work well. But this combination worked. We were able to run it. It made, you know, near 425 horsepower and over 500 foot-pounds, which is a good combination. And I know that your next question is, yeah, but now did you run nitrous with this camshaft? But let me ask you guys a question. If we add a 100-shot or a 125-shot to this combination, what do you think is going to happen? And the answer is, as always, the same thing that happened every other time that we added it. It's going to add that power. It doesn't matter that this is a different cam than the factory cam. whatever nitrous you add to this combination is going to add that much power. So if we add 100 shot to it, it's going to be 100. If we add a 125 shot, it's going to be 125 shot, as long as we did our homework, as long as the tune was right and the bottle pressure was right. That's what it will add. The camshaft will not change any of that. Let's get to our conclusion.
Okay guys, what do you think about the modifications we made to our Junkyard Gen 6 454? And here's something very important to remember. Although we made a lot of the modifications after we installed carburation, all of that stuff still applies to the fuel-injected motor. We could add nitrous to the fuel-injected motor, we could add a camshaft to the fuel-injected motor, and it would respond in the same manner. The only thing is the fuel injection is going to limit power higher in the RPM range compared to the carburetor, but it still works. And if you guys want to see even more modifications to a Gen 6 or Gen 5 or any other 454, check out the playlist on this channel. I have a playlist for NA 454 mods. I also have one for nitrous, turbo, and blower. So check out those playlists if you want to see even more modifications for a big block. I'm Richard Holder, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that stuff. I got more testing coming up.